Hi, I'm Dr. Young Cho. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon here at Integrated Aesthetics, and I've been practicing aesthetics for over 20 years.
Hi, I'm Dr. Klymov. I completed an integrated plastic surgery residency following an aesthetic fellowship here in Houston, Texas.
We get often the question, what is Vaser liposuction? How does that differ from regular liposuction? We have BodyTite in the practice as well, so how do all these things factor in? We have at this practice several different modalities that help with liposuction. So we have liposuction, we have Vaser assisted, power assisted, we have BodyTite. Tell me a little bit, why don't you start with liposuction? What is liposuction?
The liposuction is a technique introduced in the late 80s by actually a gynecologist, which uses tumescent fluid, which is a fluid with epinephrine and some sort of anesthetic, lidocaine usually, and using a small cannula connected to a suction that allows uniformly for fat to be removed. Power-assisted liposuction is an adjunct to liposuction. It is a device that allows for the cannula to move back and forth, thus helping the surgeon and basically helping the surgeon to use less of the mechanical force to obtain the same result.
So does it help with fatigue for the surgeon?
That's one of them. It does help with fatigue, but also it speeds up the actual process of harvesting fat, which is important for a safer procedure.
Tell me Vaser. Why Vaser?
So Vaser, actually, especially this third generation Vaser, it is useful because it's an additional tool. It's like a new paintbrush in your liposuction. It provides a much better result, much more uniform liposuction. It just adds a little bit more time to the procedure. But because it uses ultrasound, it breaks down the tissue more uniformly and it releases the fat cells and the fat more uniformly throughout all the layers. The caveat is that you need to use a little bit more tumescent, and also there is some heat that this probe generates, so you have to be mindful. And that was the problem with the previous generation of Vaser, that could potentially cause burns if not used properly.
Would you say Vaser adds an additional layer of safety to our procedures?
I think definitely in the right hands it does, but also it just pushes the edge of the results. I think the results are much better.
Yeah.
And also personally, I will always use Vaser for a secondary liposuction. A secondary liposuction that had a lot of fibrous tissue and scar tissue. Vaser is very helpful.
So one of the things I love about Vaser is that it breaks up the tissue between the fat cells, so it helps to make that a lot smoother. So just like Dr. Klymov said, for patients that have previously had liposuction, there's a lot of scar tissue that makes it hard to move between the tissue planes. The other thing is there are just different individuals or different body parts where the tissue is a lot more fibrous and there's a lot more attachments and holding things together. So to actually do traditional liposuction requires quite a lot of blunt force to actually deliver the results that we're trying to achieve, and that can result in some unevenness. Vaser just helps to break everything up and makes a much smoother procedure, which also, what I find, results in less blood loss, which also then results in a safer and healthier and faster recovery.
Something to add to it is that also my patients that had Vaser, they experience much less pain after the procedure because it's much less mechanical damage to the tissue.
So Dr. Klymov, we're talking about Vaser liposuction. Do you use Vaser everywhere, or are there certain areas that you really like the technology?
You can use it everywhere, and probably I would use it in the secondary liposuction, wherever it was before done. I got introduced to Vaser in gynecomastia surgery. Kudos to Dr. Heil from Premier Aesthetics in Pittsburgh area. He had a Lysonics probe, and I really love the gynecomastia done with Vaser ultrasound technique. It adds a little bit of skin tightening, but also it allows you to shape and chisel the chest perfectly. That would not be power assisted or just liposuction or suction assisted does not allow you to do that. So gynecomastia, secondary liposuction. I'm not limited to an area, but one of the favorite areas I would say it's inner thighs, obviously trunk, flanks, bra line areas, arms, and submental.
Yeah, and I would echo a lot of the same areas that I would use Vaser for as well. And there is also a notion that Vaser may be harmful to the fat cells. So can we use it for fat grafting is often a question as well. And I would say the answer to that is we can dial up or dial down the energy so that At lower energies, we get similar benefits as we do to harvest the fat, but it actually helps to create less traumatic fatty harvest so that there's less fibrous tissue attached to it as well. So actually, it's a great adjunct to fat grafting.
This generation of Vaser also has a special mode, which is a pulse mode that basically has pulses of ultrasound, which also helps with preserving the life of adipocytes or fat cells. So there are several studies came up lately showing that Vaser liposuction, it's the survivability of fat or viability of fat is higher than the power assisted or suction assisted. So in summary, Vaser is a great adjunct to the liposuction. It provides better outcomes, more uniform liposuction, more safe, less blood loss. It is much more comfortable in recovering from it. And what else?
I think you covered it. And I would say if you have an interest to see whether Vaser or some of these minimally invasive technologies that you're a right candidate for, don't hesitate to contact our practice. We have wonderful patient care coordinators who will give you a really nice educational experience during your consultation. And if you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments. We'd love for you to subscribe to our channel and like our page.
Like and follow for more.